Hello everybody, and welcome to How to Reach Orbit in Kerbal Space Program. So, when I'm browsing the internet, I'm always seeing people telling everyone that, you know what, I just can't reach orbit or space in Kerbal Space Program. No matter how hard I try, I'm just stuck in the atmosphere. And I figure, you know what, maybe I should do something about that. Maybe I should make a tutorial, because getting into orbit is so easy once you know how to do it. You just need to know what to do, and you can't make assumptions about how things should work. I think a lot of people just assume things like, you know, put more rockets and more fuel and I'll get into orbit, and that is just simply not the case. So first things first, we're going to put 3 of these fuel things, and then we're going to grab this engine, just chosen randomly. So this is the basic design here. Now I'm going to pull one of these off, because this is going to be a multi-rocket rocket. Now, what you want to do is you go over to Structural, and you grab a radial decoupler. We're going to put 3 of them. You could put 4, you could put probably more, they'd probably fit. Let's just put them there and attach this there. Now that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So we just want to do a few things. Let's take some struts and strut it up so that it's a bit more stable. That should do that. Let's go into Utility real quick. Something important to keep in mind is power. If you run out of power, you are in a bit of a trouble. Want it to be 2. Let's just put 2 solar panels up there so we don't run out of power. Some engines also produce power, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Now, something else we want is a basic parachute so that our guys can survive. And since this is a tutorial, I suggest, for your first time, putting an advanced stabilizer on there, because that will help you maintain control. And also, for the landing, it's a lot easier to land if you don't have to bring the entire weight with you. So you take a stack decoupler, put it right, actually we don't need that. Put it right there, attach everything together. So here is a basic ship design. Doesn't look like much, does it? Like, how could we possibly get into orbit with this? Well, I promise you, you can. Last thing though, we want to fix the staging up. That will always ruin your mission if you have the incorrect staging. Now this is in the right spot. This, however, should be right there. And that's it. Let's save it. Let's launch. Now, a lot of people, whenever they're launching, they'll tell you things like gravity turns and all sorts of stuff like that. That is more advanced stuff. You can get into orbit without ever even knowing what that means. So first off, hit T to turn your SAS on. That will keep your rocket from tipping over. Then throttle up with the left shift, and stage. Now this is going to be a bit of a slow takeoff. I didn't put any powerful engines. A lot of people think they just put the biggest engines on there and that'll get into orbit, and a lot of times it'll work. I'm guilty of that in my own Let's Play series, but it is also extremely easy to get into orbit just using basic engines in a reasonable amount. And I really think this ship does look cool. Don't you think so? You can always watch your resources up in the top if you want. We should be fine on resources. This is just a basic ship. I didn't include RCS, I didn't include scientific equipment. This is just, you know, we need to get into space because we want to get in space. And that's how it is. So for the purposes of this rocket, we're just going to let it run until these run out of fuel. Just wait a bit. It's not a huge deal. Now, the gravity turn is whenever you turn slightly while you're lifting off, and that kind of puts you into a sideways orbit already. But you can just burn straight forward and it will work. I will show you a bit of what you can do for efficiency as we get to the next stage. Now look here. Right now we're getting closer and closer to the halfway point. Space is at 70,000. So let's go ahead and switch back, as we're about to stage. You want to stage as fast as you can, because the longer you're holding onto that weight, the more fuel lost. So goodbye. Now, you can have problems with those hitting you, and, you know, we just gotta work around that. Now, see, we're basically in space now. So what we want to do is we want to lean sideways, because you're basically just wasting fuel by going anything above 80,000 right now. You just want to get in orbit, right? So we're completely on our side, as you can see. And we're just going to burn sideways a bit. Not all the way, though, because it's more efficient to do this when you're up there, the closer you are to your apoapsis, because as you can see, the apoapsis is rising, which means some of our fuel is being expended, still pushing us upward. So let's cut the engines right now. You can just hit X to cut your throttle all the way down to 0. And let's just fly a bit. We're almost in space. Any second now. Let's switch back to the ship view for a bit. Jebediah is having fun. And there we go, we're in space. So let's just time warp a bit. We want to get closer. You don't have to get too close. If you want to be super efficient, you would, but we're just here to get into orbit today. So that's good enough. Full throttle, and just let it run, really. Now, a trick you can do is you can go slightly below the horizon line, and that will actually make you a bit more efficient if you're well behind the apoapsis. But it really doesn't matter all that much. We will be getting into orbit with this ship. Yep. Now, of course, this is a very basic design, so we're not going to have all that much fuel left. We're not going to be able to go to Moon, probably. But we will be in orbit. We'll be able to deorbit any place we want. We'll be able to safely land the capsule. And X, we're in orbit. See, we still got 109 fuel left. So yes, that is how easy it is to get into orbit. You just throw a ship together. Don't make any assumptions about how things should work. Just learn how to do the basics and extrapolate from there. Because, for example, you could just attach a few solid rocket boosters to the side, and that would probably get you more fuel once you got up to the top. As simple as that. Now let's go ahead and swing around. And let's deorbit. There we go, we've deorbited. Let's just cut out as much of that and we'll land. To finalize this tutorial. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's time warp until we re-enter the atmosphere. There we go. Now we can go ahead and expend the rest of this fuel to cut out momentum. It doesn't really matter, but I like to do it. There we go. Now we stage. And now we can do a little physics warp. Physics warp is dangerous. I don't suggest using it all that much, especially not when you've got things like parachutes opening. That is a terrible, terrible idea. Now we can turn the SAS off, and there we go. Just rotate it around a bit. Didn't really have to turn the SAS off for that. Now let's go ahead and activate the parachute. It'll open up. There it goes. Now once you have the parachute open, you can go ahead and turn the SAS off, and just the aerodynamics will make you face the direction that you're heading. Easy as that, and then you just wait. We can actually physics warp safely right now, because the parachute won't open until we're very close to the water. Now see, we're cutting out our horizontal motion, and now we're facing pretty much straight down, and that will continue to straighten out. And I'll go ahead and go back to the regular time warp. So yeah, that's how you get in orbit. It's very easy to do. I will upload a craft file for this that you can put into your KSP folder. I'll include little instructions for how to do that in the description of the video along with the link. But that's that. So yeah, this has been Kebab799. Thank you for watching. I hope you get into space if you've been having trouble. And make sure to subscribe to see more. Like this video if you liked it. Comment if you have anything to say. And I will see you in the next episode.